All right, happy Sabbath, everyone. So tomorrow at evening, we're going to be celebrating Day of Simon. So that's what today's class is going to be about. It's going to be about the Day of Simon. So it's going to, we getting started a little late, so class won't be that long. But Day of Simon is the title of class today. And we're going to get right into it. We're going to find out why we celebrating the Day of Simon. What happened? What did Simon do? And how did he declare this day? Like, what made this day so special? So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. First off, first thing we're going to get to is how the Most High separated days, certain days from each other. So let's get first. We're going to start off in Sirach 33, start at verse 7. Sirach chapter 33 and verse 7.
Book of Ecclesiastes chapter 33 verse 7. Why doeth one day excel another?
It says, why does one day excel another? Go ahead.
When as all the light of every day in a year is of the sun.
But it says, but when every day of the year is of the sun comes out every day. The sun sets, the moon comes out. It's all the same, but why do some days excel another? Go ahead.
By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts.
Because of the knowledge of the Lord, he altered certain days. So there's reasons that days are altered. There's always a reason that some days are higher than others. So let's get that. Go to Genesis chapter 2. Because the Most High, he always has a reason for everything he does. If a day is special, it's always for a certain reason. So that's Genesis chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 1.
Book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 1. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them.
So God had finished creating the heavens and the earth. The heavens is the skies, and the earth is the ground. Go ahead.
And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made.
So on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had done. So it took him, on the seventh day, it took him 7 days and he was done. Go ahead.
And he rested on the seventh day from all his work.
So he rested on the seventh day from all his work. So it was symbolic. Today, on the seventh day, what do? We rest from our work. So that's why we keep the Sabbath, because the Most High labored 6 days. And the seventh day, he rested. So that's why he divides certain days, because for some event went down for us to celebrate that day. It's not for no reason. So in the symbolism of him working to finish all creation, 6 days, nothing but straight labor, on the seventh day, he rested and made that day holy. And he commanded us to do the same. So that's why certain days are set apart from other days. So now we're going to get into the class. Go to, first we're going to find out, we're going to talk a little about Jonathan first. So Jonathan is the brother of Simon, the son of Mattathias. Y'all remember Mattathias, which we'll talk about later on in class. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 12. So that's 1 Maccabees chapter 12. And we're going to start at verse 1.
Book 1 Maccabees chapter 12 verse 1. Now when Jonathan saw that the time served him, he chose certain men and sent them to Rome, for to confirm the renew the friendship that they had with them.
So Jonathan was preparing was preparing for battle. He saw the time was appointed, so he made sure that all his allies he still had all his allies. Go ahead.
He sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians and to other places for the same purpose. So they went unto Rome and entered into the Senate and said, Jonathan, the high priest, and the people of the Jews sent us unto you, to the end ye should renew the friendship which ye had with them, and league as in former times.
So these are the men that Jonathan sent out going to others renew the friendships. Make sure he had his allies in order. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Upon this, the Romans gave them letters unto the governors of every place, that they should bring them into the land of Judea peaceably.
Go ahead.
And this is the copy of the letters which Jonathan wrote to the Macedonians.
So what you about to read now is what Jonathan, the letter that Jonathan sent to the Macedonians. Go ahead. Verse 6.
Jonathan, the high priest, and the elders of the nation, and the priests, and the other people of the Jews, unto the Macedonians, their brethren, send greetings.
So let them know we sending greetings to you. This is peace. Go ahead.
There were letters sent in time past unto Elias, the high priest, from Darius, who reigned then among you, to signify that ye are our brethren.
So he let them know that this is, it was already done before to signify that y'all are brothers. We got peace with y'all. Go ahead.
As the copy here underwritten do specify, at which time Ananias entreated the ambassador that was sent honorably and received the letters, wherein declaration was made of the league and friendship.
So this Jonathan just reminding them about the league and the friendship. Go ahead.
Therefore, we also, albeit we need none of these things, for that we have the holy books of Scripture in our hands to comfort us.
So Jonathan let them know we have the Most High on our side. Go ahead.
Have nevertheless attempted to send unto you for the renewing of brotherhood and friendship, lest we should become strangers unto you altogether. For there is a long time past since ye sent unto us.
Let's just remind them of the decree that they have between them. Now let's go to 1 Maccabees Chapter 8. That's just Jonathan reminding them, the peace that should be between them, because they're still in times of war. This also extends from the time when Judas Maccabee, when they killed Nicanor, but they were still in battle. They were still under war, even after taking the temple back to Judah Maccabee. So let's go to 1 Maccabees Chapter 8 and read verse 23.
1 Maccabees Chapter 8, verse 23. Good success be to the Romans and to the people of the Jews, by sea and by land forever. The sword also and enemy be far from them. If there come first any war upon the Romans, or any of their confederates throughout all their dominion, the people of the Jews shall help them, as the time shall be appointed with all their heart.
So that's Jonathan letting them know that the Romans have our support, have the Jews support. If any war come upon you, you have our support. Go ahead.
Neither shall they give anything unto them that make war upon them, or aid them with victuals, weapons, money, or ships, as it hath seemed good unto the Romans. But they shall keep their covenants without taking anything therefore.
Go ahead.
In the same manner also, if war come first upon the nation of the Jews, the Romans shall help them with all their heart, according as the time shall be appointed them. Neither shall victuals be given to them that take part against them, or weapons, or money, or ships, as it hath seemed good to the Romans, but they shall keep their covenant, and that without deceit.
So it's saying neither the Romans nor the Jews shall deal deceitfully with each other. They shall keep the covenant to help each other in these times. So this is just Jonathan, reaching out to everybody. Go ahead.
According to these articles did the Romans make a covenant with the people of the Jews. Howbeit, if hereafter the one party or the other shall think meet to add or diminish anything, they may do it at their pleasures, and whatsoever they shall add or take away shall be ratified.
Go ahead, verse 31.
And as touching the evils that Demetrius doeth to the Jews, we have written unto him, saying, Wherefore hast thou made thy yoke heavy upon our friends and confederates, the Jews?
Verse 32.
If therefore they complain any more against thee, we will do them justice and fight with thee by sea and by land.
So just Jonathan let them know, like, if because if Demetrius deal any more wickedly against the Jews, they're going to fight against him. They're going to fight against him. Go to 1 Maccabees 12 and read verse 28.
1 Maccabees chapter 12, verse 28. But when the adversaries heard that Jonathan and his men were ready for battle, they feared and trembled in their hearts, and they kindled fires in their camp.
So this is the enemies. When they heard that Jonathan was preparing for war, they were afraid. This is what Jonathan's doing. He's preparing everybody. That's why he's reaching out to everyone. Go ahead.
Howbeit, Jonathan and his company knew it not till the morning, for they saw the lights burning.
Jump down to verse 39.
Verse 39. Now Trophan went about to get the kingdom of Asia.
And Trophan is who this is all about. This is who this is the main enemy of the Jews at this time. So it says Trophan went to read that again, verse 39.
Now Trophan went about to get the kingdom of Asia.
So it says Trophan went about to get the kingdom of Asia. So he's on his way to get the kingdom of Asia, because we're gonna see later on how he does it. Go ahead.
And to kill Antiochus the king, that he might set the crown upon his own head.
So his plan is to kill Antiochus the king. Now we know who Antiochus is. Antiochus was the one who made the decree against the Jews originally, that all should serve them and serve him and keep his laws. Go ahead, verse 40.
Howbeit, he was afraid that Jonathan will not suffer him, and that he will fight against him. Wherefore, he sought a way how to take Jonathan, that he might kill him. So he removed and came to the sign. So
just Tryphon already knows that Jonathan will not side with him. So Tryphon plans to kill Jonathan. Go ahead.
Then Jonathan went out to meet him with 40,000 men chosen for the battle, and came to Bethshan. Now when Tryphon saw that Jonathan came with so great a force, he durst not stretch his hand against him.
So Tryphon saw that Jonathan came with a great army. He came with thousands of men. So Tryphon had to come with a plan how to kill Jonathan. So let's see what he did. Go ahead.
Verse 43. But received him honorably, and commended him unto all his friends, and gave him gifts, and commanded his men of war to be as obedient unto him as to himself.
So now now he see that he gotta be a little more cunning with Jonathan. So he came to him friendly. Remember what it said, the scripture said, a gift destroyed the heart. He basically came to him as kindly as he could. If you go back and read, I'm not gonna jump the gun, but he deceived Jonathan. He acted as though him and Jonathan had peace between them. Go ahead.
Verse 44. Unto Jonathan also he said, Why hast thou put all this people to so great trouble, seeing there is no war betwixt us?
He's like, why you bring all these people? So this is Tryphon talking to Jonathan. He said, why you bring all these people with you? You done brought them out here. Seeing there's no problem between me and you, we're good. Me and you, there's no war between us. Go ahead.
Therefore, send them now home again, and chose a few men to wait on thee.
Remember, he gave them gifts, and he greeted them with a smile. He was real friendly. So now he telling them, man, you can send them home. There's no need for all this. Between us, there is peace. So let's see what Jonathan did. Go ahead.
And come thou with me to Ptolemais, for I will give it thee, and the rest of the strongholds and forces, and all that have any charge. As for me, I will return and depart, for this is the cause of my coming.
So he said, man, it's all good between us. I'm going to depart. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Go ahead.
So Jonathan, believing him, did as he bade him, and sent away his hosts, who went into the land of Judea.
So Jonathan fell for it, and he sent away all his people. He sent away his people. Go ahead.
And with himself he retained but 3,000 men.
So all he kept was 3,000 men with him. Go ahead.
Of whom he sent 2,000 into Galilee.
And he sent 2,000 of those men into Galilee. So now he got, go ahead.
And 1,000 with him.
Now he just got 1,000. Go ahead.
Now as soon as Jonathan entered into Ptolemais, Ptolemais shut the gates and took him, and all them that came with him they slew with the sword.
So they took Jonathan and they slayed all his men. So you see, they tricked him. Go ahead.
Then sent Tryphon and host of footmen and horsemen into Galilee and into the great plain to destroy all Jonathan's company.
Remember Jonathan sent all his 2,000 men to Galilee. So Tryphon sent some men over there to destroy them. Go ahead.
But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken and slain, they encouraged one another and went close together, prepared to fight.
So when the people heard that Jonathan and his men had been slain, they were ready to fight. Well, let's see what happened. Go ahead.
They therefore that followed upon them, perceiving that they were ready to fight for their lives, turned back again.
So they turned back though. They was ready to fight, but they turned back. Let's see why. Go ahead.
Whereupon they all came into the land of Judea peaceably, and they were bewailed, and there they bewailed Jonathan and them that were with him, and they were sore afraid. Wherefore all Israel made great lamentation.
So the fear fell upon them. They were mourning Jonathan, and the fear fell upon them. So what we get into is how Jonathan and his men were deceived, and now the people Jonathan was ruler over, the Jews, they all fearful too, because they're thinking about their leader is dead, and his army is killed. So we can get a little understanding that Tryphon killed Jonathan and his army. And the Jews that were with them, the others, they were afraid. Now because they had no leader. Their leader was killed. So let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 13 and start at verse 1.
1 Maccabees 13 verse 1. Now when Simon heard that Tryphon had gathered together a great host to invade the land of Judea and destroy it.
So Simon, he got word of what Tryphon was planning to invade Judea, to destroy it. So now Simon, he about to spring into action. Go ahead.
And saw that the people was in great trembling and fear.
So he saw that his people were afraid. Go ahead.
He went up to Jerusalem and gathered the people together, and gave them exhortation, saying, Ye yourselves know what great things I and my brethren and my father's house have done for the laws and the sanctuary.
He's talking about Mattathias, Judah Maccabees, all his brothers, Eleazar, all of them. That's what he's talking about. He's saying, y'all know what we have done for this nation. He's talking to the people because they're afraid. So he's saying, y'all know what my people have done for this nation. Go ahead.
The battles also and troubles which we have seen.
That's it on that. So he said the battles also and the troubles that we have seen. So Simon went to the people and to save them from Tryphon. He went to let them know. Basically, y'all got, we okay. The Most High has been with us. He been with my family, and we have been fighting for this nation. That's what we've been doing. That's what his father did when he departed from under Antiochus, and all the Jews joined themselves to him to fight against Antiochus or to fight against Nicanor. So he said he reminded them, we're gonna be okay. So let's go to now read verse 4.
Verse 4. By reason whereof all my brethren are slain for Israel's sake, and I am left alone.
He said, all my brothers died fighting for Israel. He said, all my brothers died fighting for Israel, and now there's just me. So he knew Jonathan, even Jonathan, his brother, the one that just passed. He said he died fighting for Israel, and now there's just me. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 6. So Simon said, all his brethren have died, have laid down their life to save Israel. All their brothers have given their all for Israel. So let's go to chapter 6 and read verse 43.
1 Maccabees 6 verse 43. Eleazar, also surnamed Savrin, perceiving that one of the beasts armed with war harness, was higher than all the rest, and supposing that the king was upon him.
So the king, so Eleazar basically, what he's basically saying is Eleazar knew that the king was sitting on top of this great beast. This is one of his brothers. What we're going to is what we're going to on this one is to see how his brothers died for Israel. So he's saying Eleazar, he slayed this beast, knowing that the king was on top of the beast, was riding it like a horse. Go ahead.
Verse 44. Put himself in jeopardy to the end he might deliver his people and get him a perpetual name.
Go ahead. Verse 45.
Wherefore he ran upon him courageously through the midst of the battle, slain on the right hand and on the left, so that they were divided from him on both sides.
Go ahead. Verse 46.
Which done, he crept under the elephant and thrust him under.
So he got under the elephant that the king was on top of and thrust him, like cut him in his belly. Go ahead.
And slew him, whereupon the elephant fell down upon him, and there he died.
So the elephant fell down upon Eleazar, and there he died. So that's his example of how he laid down his life. Now go to chapter 9 and read verse 16. First Maccabees 9 and 16.
First Maccabees chapter 9 verse 16. But when they of the left wing saw that they of the right wing were discomforted, they followed upon Judas and those that were with him hard at the heels from behind.
So this is they're following after Judas Maccabee. Go ahead.
Whereupon there was a sore battle, insomuch as many were slain on both parts.
Go ahead, verse 18.
Judas also was killed, and the remnant fled.
Go ahead.
Then Jonathan and Simon took Judas their brother and buried him in the sepulchre of his fathers in Moses.
So this is how Judas Maccabees died. He died in battle, fighting for Israel. So let's get another one. Go to chapter 12, read verse 50. First Maccabees 12 and 50.
Look at First Maccabees chapter 12 verse 50. But when they knew that Jonathan and they that were with him were taken as slain, they encouraged one another and went close together, prepared to fight.
So these are the Jews prepared to fight for after Jonathan's death. But it's saying that Jonathan died for Israel as well. So that's what Simon is saying. All of my brothers have died. My father fighting for Israel. They laid their life down for the nation of Israel. And this is how the mindset we should be having, that whatever it takes to save Israel is what we should be willing to do. So go back to First Maccabees chapter 13.
Let me get a precept. Go to First Maccabees 2, just to see who his family is. First Maccabees 2 and 1.
First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 1. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jored, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
So this is Matthias, the son of John. Go ahead.
And he had 5 sons.
Go ahead.
Joannan, called Caddis, Simon, called Dassi, Judas, who was called Maccabees, Eleazar, called Abiron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Ephus.
Go ahead.
And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered unto the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary unto the hand of the strangers.
Go ahead.
Her temple is become as a man without glory.
So this is Matthias. He had 5 sons, and it just named all his sons. And then when he was seeing the condition of Israel, that's when he decided to do something about it. He decided to make himself and his sons warriors for Israel. That's what happened. They became warriors for Israel. Read 9.
Verse 9. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation has not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
Jump to 14.
Verse 14. Then Maccabees and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore.
So this is when they going into fasting and prayer. Go ahead.
In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came unto the city of Modin to make them sacrifice.
So this is so when you read chapter 2, this is going into how Maccabees started the revolution for Israel. So first chapter 2 verse 1 through 2 and 1 through 4 names his sons. So that's where you go and see who his sons were, or who Simon's brother were. And then when we was reading in verse chapter 12, Simon was the only one left. He was the only one left.
So let's go back to 1 Maccabees 13 and read verse 5.
1 Maccabees chapter 13 verse 5. Now therefore be it far from me that I should spare my own life in any time of trouble.
So he's saying, like, basically like what I just read. He's saying that my brothers, my father, they laid down their life. It's far from me that I shouldn't have to do the same. Go ahead. He said, basically, he said, I'm the last one left. So that means I have a great responsibility. It was taught to me of my father. My brothers did it. When they were here, they protected Israel. So I'm gonna do the same. Go ahead.
For I am no better than my brethren.
He said, I'm no brother than my brother. He said, we on the same level. He said, I'm no better. So they did it. I'm gonna do it. It's a family tradition. Back to 1 Maccabees chapter 13. I read verse 6.
1 Maccabees chapter 13 verse 6. Doubtless I will avenge my nation and the sanctuary and our wives and our children, for all the heathen are gathered to destroy us of very malice.
So that's his oath he makes. He said, no doubt in my mind, I'm gonna defend our nation. I'm gonna defend all my people. Go ahead.
Now as soon as the people heard these words, their spirit revived.
So it says as soon as the people heard them, because remember they lost Jonathan, now they got Simon. Simon, they like, okay. As soon as they heard it, it says their spirit revived. What does that mean? It said their spirit revived. Go to 2 Timothy chapter 1. So they heard them words and their spirit revived. 2 Timothy chapter 1. Start at verse 5.
The book of 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 5. When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that in thee also.
Go ahead, verse 6.
Wherefore I put thee in remembrance that thou stir up the gift of God.
So I put thee in remembrance that thou stir up the gift of God. Go ahead.
Which is in thee by the putting on of my hands.
So which is in me by putting on of my hands. Verse 7.
For God hath not given us the spirit of fear.
That's what he spoke up. He said, don't be fearful. So that spirit was reviving them. He said he took away that fear was gone. They were no longer afraid. Go ahead.
But of power and of love and of a sound mind.
So he said that's the spirit that woke up in them. They was not afraid no more. Like they heard them words, they were like, okay, they good again. Remember they was afraid at first. They was afraid. Jonathan was mighty. He was taken down. So now they like. But now his brother Simon has stepped up, and told him what he planned to do. They back on him. They back. Let's go back. Go to 1 Maccabees 13, read verse 8.
1 Maccabees 13, verse 8. And they answered with a loud voice, saying, Thou shalt be our leader instead of Judas, and Jonathan thy brother.
So they're saying, since your brothers are gone, now they declaring, they saying, we want you, we following you. You are our leader. Whatever you say, go ahead. Go ahead.
Fight thou our battles, and whatsoever thou commandest us, that will we do.
They saying basically we're gonna follow you into battle. We here. So this is remember y'all, we're talking about the day of Simon. They said whatever you say, we gonna do it. We trust you. Go ahead.
So then he gathered together all the men of war and made haste to finish the walls of Jerusalem, and he fortified it round about.
So what that word is, like he got all the men of war. That means the toughest men in the kingdom, all the men. And he fortified. Read that again. What's that? Fortified.
And he fortified it round about.
That means like basically he enforced. He like made it. Let's get that definition on that word, fortified. I looked it up. I want to make sure I say it clear. Where it is. You can read number 1. You got that fortified.
Fortify of a place provided with defensive works as protection against attack.
So that's what he did. He fortified the walls around them. He made defenses. He built the wall up. Let's read that again. Go back. Verse 10.
First Maccabees Chapter 13, verse 10. So then he gathered together all the men of war and made haste to finish the walls of Jerusalem.
So the walls of Jerusalem. He made haste to finish the walls of Jerusalem because that's their protection. In most cities, you should have a wall around your city to keep your enemies out. So he fortified it. I mean, he set up defenses. He made it stronger. He put men around it. He probably put weapons in. He had archers on it. He made sure that nobody penetrate that wall. Go to First Maccabees 12. Read 36.
First Maccabees Chapter 12, verse 36. And making the walls of Jerusalem higher, and raising a great mount between the tower and the city.
So this is what Simon was doing with the wall. Go ahead.
For to separate it from the city, that so it might be alone, that men might neither sell nor buy in it.
Verse 37.
Upon this they came together to build up the city, for as much as part of the wall toward the brook on the east side was fallen down, and they repaired that which was called Capitolinathon.
Now go back to First Maccabees 12 and read Maccabees 13 and read 11.
First Maccabees 13, verse 11. Also he sent Jonathan, the son of Absalom, and with him a great power to Joppa, who casting out them that were therein remained there in it.
So he was casting out the wicked that was in that city. Go ahead.
So Tryphon removed from Ptolemais with a great power to invade the land of Judea, and Jonathan was with him inward.
Go ahead, verse 13.
But Simon pitched his tents and Athada over against the plain.
So Simon, he ready for war. Go ahead.
Now when Tryphon knew that Simon was risen up instead of his brother Jonathan.
So when he seen that Israel had a new leader, he had killed Jonathan. Now he had Simon to worry about. Go ahead.
And meant to join battle with him, he sent messengers unto him, saying.
So now Tryphon sent messengers unto Simon, saying, go ahead.
Whereas we have Jonathan thy brother in hold.
So he lied to him. He said, we got your brother, man, over here. We holding him hostage. So to make sure that Simon does not attack their city. So he said, we have your brother over here in hostage. Go ahead.
It is for money that he is owing unto the king's treasure.
So they're asking for a ransom. Go ahead.
Concerning the business that was committed unto him.
Go ahead.
Wherefore now send 100 talents of silver, and 2 of his sons for hostages, that when he is at liberty, he may not revolt from us.
Go ahead, verse 17.
And we will let him go. Hereupon Simon, albeit he perceived that they spake deceitfully unto him.
So he knew that they was lying about his brother being there. But Tryphon is asking for money in Jonathan's son so that he can, to hold them hostage. So this is what Simon did. Go ahead.
Yet sent he the money and the children, lest peradventure he should procure to himself great hatred of the people.
So he sent the money and the children. Why did he send the money and the children? So let's see. Go to Sirach 12 and read verse 1. So he sent the money and children.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 1.
So Simon went ahead and did what Tryphon asked of him. Well, let's see what spirit Simon was under. Go ahead.
When thou wilt do good, know to whom thou doest it. So shall thou be thanked for thy benefits.
Jump down to verse 3.
There can no good come to him that is always occupied in evil, nor to him that giveth no alms.
So it says no good can come from a person that's always occupied in evil. So Simon understood this. He knew that this man was lying to him. He said, ain't no way my brother, he lied about my brother still being alive. And things he's asking for, he's just asking for out of greed. So go read First John chapter 4 and verse 1. It's 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1.
The book of 1 John chapter 4 verse 1. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are going out into the world.
Now this scripture can be applied to many situations, especially when you're dealing with bruised that say they bruised, but they don't really keep the laws. You know, those it's names for them. We ain't gotta get into all that right now. But we dealing with false prophets. But in this case, this is what Simon was doing. He was trying the spirit by the spirit. Right? He knew Tryphon was a man of war. He knew Tryphon was had an agenda. So he played his game. He played along with it. Now go to 1 Maccabees 13 and read at verse 18.
1 Maccabees chapter 13 verse 18. Who might have said, because I sent him not the money and the children, therefore is Jonathan dead.
So what this is saying is Simon only sent the children. Simon sent the children because he didn't want the people to hate him, the children of money, because they would probably think, well, because you didn't do what Tryphon asked, Tryphon killed Jonathan. That's what they saying. Like, that's what he was saying. Like, he knew. So that's why he sent them. He knew Tryphon was full of it, but that's why he went ahead and sent them, because he knew the people gonna look at me like I'm evil, like I'm the reason that my brother is dead. Go ahead, verse 19.
So he sent them the children and the 100 talents. Howbeit, Tryphon dissembled, neither would he let Jonathan go.
Because he knew that, Jonathan, he wasn't gonna let Jonathan go. He knew he already knew what it was. Now read verse 20.
And after this came Tryphon to invade the land and destroy it, going round about by the way that leadeth unto Adora. But Simon and his host marched against him in every place.
So Simon and his host, everywhere they went, Simon and his host followed, and they marched against them. Go ahead.
Wheresoever he went. Now they that were in the tower sent messengers unto Tryphon, to the end that he should hasten to his coming unto them by the wilderness.
Now we're going to touch more on this scripture a little later in the class, so I'm going to keep going, but it says they that were in the tower sent messages to Tryphon to get him to come sooner. But we're going to touch on that a little bit more later. Go to read verse 22.
And send them victuals. Wherefore Tryphon made ready all his horsemen to come that night.
So Tryphon received the message, so he ready to come that night to get those people in that tower. But let's see what happened. Go ahead.
But there fell a very great snow, by reason whereof he came not. So he departed and came into the country of Gazera.
So the Most High made a great snowfall, so he couldn't come. The Most High made a great snowfall, so he couldn't come. Basically a snowstorm, like a blizzard or something. So that's letting you know the Most High's got it all over this, and there's a reason for that. Because Simon, you'll see later how Simon is the one who took back that tower. Read verse 23.
And when he came near to he slew Jonathan, who was buried there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Afterward, Tryphon returned and went into his own land. Then sent Simon and took the bones of Jonathan his brother and buried them in Martin, the city of his fathers.
So remember, when Jonathan was killed, he was not in Simon's in Simon's reach. It's our tradition that when our people die, we bury them. That's our tradition. We bury them. You know, we make a sepulchre. We bury them. That's what we do. So he get a chance to get his brother's bones. So he got his brother's bones, and let's see what he did with them. He said he buried them in Moda, in the city of his fathers. That's also traditional. We both be buried with our fathers. We buried with our family. We all both buried together. Go ahead.
And all Israel made great lamentation for him, and bewailed him many days.
So they mourned him and they bewailed him many days. Go ahead.
Simon also built a monument upon the sepulchre, and his father and his brethren.
So Simon built a monument, you know, for his brothers, for his fathers. Go ahead.
And raised it aloft to the site, with huge stone behind and before.
Let's see what it was. Go ahead.
Moreover, he set up 7 pyramids, one against another.
He set up 7 pyramids, one against another. This is for his brothers. This is for his father and his brothers. He set up 7 pyramids. Go ahead.
For his father and his mother.
And his mother. Go ahead.
And his 4 brethren. And in these he made cunning devices, about the which he set great pillars, and upon the pillars he made all their armor for a perpetual memory.
So he made a memorial for them. He set their armor. He made pillars. It's just a great sight to see. Go ahead.
And by the armor ships carved, that they might be seen of all that sailed on the sea.
So you see, when you were on the sea sailing, you could see this great monument that he made for his family. Go ahead.
This is the sepulchre which he made at Martin, and it standeth yet unto this day.
It's standing yet to this day. I mean, you can go and see it now, still there. So this is letting you know that this really happened. This is not just a story. Simon, this really happened. So he said you can see those 7 pyramids. You can see this great monument off the sea of Moden. As you pass by, you can see what Simon built for his brothers, for his family. Go ahead.
Now Tryphon dealt deceitfully with the young king Antiochus and slew him.
So remember, Antiochus is that's who was king back when we read in First Maccabees. That's who took rulership and had to create all the new laws and stuff for the Jews. Well, Tryphon is the one who killed him. Tryphon killed him. Go ahead.
And verse 32, and he reigned in his stead, and crowned himself king of Asia, and brought a great calamity upon the land.
So now Tryphon made himself king over Asia. He took Antiochus' spot, he killed him, and made himself king. So let's go to go to First Maccabees, chapter 1. And we're gonna read starting verse 1.
First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, and smitten Darius the king of the Persians and Medes.
So this is talking about Alexander the Great. He smitten King Darius. Go ahead.
That he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
So it was talking about Alexander. He reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. Go ahead.
And made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth.
And we're just getting a little history of how Antiochus came to power. Go ahead.
And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
So this Alexander, they call him Alexander the Great. He was considered one of the most fierce rulers of all time. He made many wars. People were afraid of him. The world was afraid of him. Those that knew him. Go ahead.
And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him.
So it says he ruled over many nations and kings. Other kings of other nations paid tribute to him. This is how feared he was. Go ahead.
And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die.
So eventually Alexander the Great fell sick, and he knew he said, I feel death coming. Go ahead.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth.
These are people that he knew, people like that he was mentoring. They grew up with him. Like, he knew that these guys were high ranked men. These are the men he was entrusted to. Because, like I said, he about to die. He feel like he's about to die. Go ahead.
And parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
He gave each of them part of his kingdom while he was still alive. Go ahead.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
So Alexander reigned for 12 years and then died. Let's see what happened after that. Verse 8.
And his servants bare rule, every one in his place.
All his servants, they did the parts of the nation that he gave them. They all bared their rule in their place. They all ruled over that place. Go ahead.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did all their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth.
You can understand, these were heathens, so the evils multiplied, and the kingdom, and as each of them died, they kept passing the throne to their sons, and so on and so forth. But the evils were multiplied in the earth because these were wicked men. These were heathens. These are not Jews. Go ahead. And
there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, son named Ephenius.
Antiochus is who came out of them. Now this is where they called him a wicked root. He was the worst. Go ahead.
Son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Okay, now go to read verse 11. So this is talking about how Antiochus came into power. Go ahead, verse 11.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Remember what I brought out earlier about Matthias and how the times were growing wicked. And Matthias, he said, "Whoa, the destruction that I had to see. I will look at what I've seen my nation become. This is the start of it. They came to the wicked Jews. Our people came to King Antiochus and asking him that they may keep his laws, that they may be like him." Go ahead. They were saying, since we departed, that they basically saying, no, we ain't really had it easy. But look at their spirit. Look at the spirits they got on them. They are going to do bad because they don't believe in God. They don't believe on God. So now they finna put their trust in Antiochus. Go ahead.
So this device pleased them well.
So what they was thinking about doing pleased them. That's something they really wanted. Go ahead.
Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
So the king gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. A lot of kings back then, before this, or even some after, some did fear God, and they knew the Jews don't do as we do. And we don't, some of them knew we dare not even ask them to have them do what we do, because God gonna kill us. So for him to even grant them that, that's, he wicked as hell. Go ahead.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise in Jerusalem, according to the custom of the heathen.
Y'all see that word exercise? I mean, that's something for them to practice. They knew customs, the heathen's customs. Go ahead.
And made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
So they basically they was all in. When I say they made themselves uncircumcised, because you cannot if you cut the foreskin off, you cannot regrow it. What that means is they lost their understanding. They let go of all their understanding. They was all in to do wicked. But we know, we'll probably touch on that down the line, was Paul talking about the circumcision. So they was basically uncircumcised. Remember when David called Goliath the uncircumcised Philistine? Yeah, I have to ask y'all, so do you think that Goliath was standing in front of David with his clothes off? Nah, he was saying that he had no understanding. He was saying, who is this man of no understanding to come to attack the Jews, God's people? He foolish. So that would say they made themselves uncircumcised men. They basically said, everything that we was taught growing up by our ancestors before us, throw it all in the trash. That's what they did. Go ahead. Verse 15, I think.
Verse 16.
Yeah, 16.
Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms.
So see, he greedy. He wanted to reign over Egypt too. Go ahead.
Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy.
So he came to take Egypt. Go ahead.
And made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death.
So he took Egypt. Go ahead, verse 19.
Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
So this is a little backstory on Antiochus. Who he is. This is who Tryphon killed. Now let's go back to, let's go first Maccabees, read verse, chapter 1, read verse 21. So go back, just go read verse, go read verse 21. I'm getting ahead of myself.
And entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof.
So this is what Antiochus took when he defiled Israel. Go ahead.
And the table of the shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the viols, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off.
So this is basically he defiling the temple. He just Antiochus just wreaking havoc. He returned from Egypt, came back. He just destroying our stuff. Go ahead.
He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found.
So this is about how he just defamed the temple. How he just wreaking havoc in the temple. Now go back to first Maccabees 13 and start at verse 33.
First Maccabees chapter 13 verse 33. Then Simon built up the strongholds in Judea, and fenced them about with high towers, and great walls, and gates, and bars, and laid up victuals therein.
So Simon getting ready. He building up his kingdom. He getting ready to protect his people. Go ahead.
Moreover, Simon chose men and sent to King Demetrius, to the end he should give the land and immunity.
So this is, remember we talked about Demetrius earlier. So now Simon is reaching out to Demetrius and asking for an immunity. You know what I'm saying? Like he asking for peace between them. Go ahead.
Because all that Tryphon did was to spoil.
Let them know Tryphon ain't no good. We got to come together. Go ahead.
Unto whom King Demetrius answered and wrote after this manner.
So after this is what King Demetrius said. Go ahead.
King Demetrius unto Simon the high priest and friend of kings, as also unto the elders and nation of the Jews, send a greeting, the golden crown and the scarlet robe which ye sent unto us, we have received.
So he said, I sent the gifts you. He said, I got the gifts you sent out to me. Go ahead.
And we are ready to make a steadfast peace with you, yea, and to write unto our officers to confirm the immunities which we have granted, and whatsoever covenants we have made with you shall stand, and the strongholds which ye have builded shall be your own.
So he's saying, whatever covenant we making with you is going to stand. He said, Demetrius said, we received your gifts, we appreciate it, we accept it, and whatever agreement we make with you is going to stand. He said, even in the stronghold that you have built, those are yours. Basically, let them know you have our right, take them, they're yours. Go ahead. Verse 39.
As for any oversight or fault committed unto this day, we forgive it.
Say, whatever you've done against us, we forgive it. Go ahead.
And the crown tax also, which ye owe us. And if there were any other tribute paid in Jerusalem, it shall no more be paid.
They saying y'all debts is clear, we good. There's no more, no tribute, no taxes, nothing. It's all good. Go ahead, verse 40.
And look, who are meet among you to be in our court. let them be enrolled, and let there be peace between us.
So let there be peace between us, me and you. Go ahead, verse 40.
Thus the yoke of the heathen was taken away from Israel in the 170th year.
Verse 42.
Then the people of Israel began to write in their instruments and contracts. In the first year of Simon, the high priest, the governor and leader of the Jews.
Now so basically they was at peace with Demetrius now. Now they got him as an ally. They let him know that there's no more peace between us. Go to read verse 44 again. Jump down to verse 44.
Verse 44. And they that were in the engine leaped into the city, whereupon there was a great uproar in the city.
So, this is where Simon, he had built something that had it set against the city. He had built like an engine, like a big structure, and set it against the city. This is Simon going to war against it, against those heathens that was in their city. So, let's see. Read it now. Read that again.
And they that were in the engine leaped into the city.
I'm going to read verse 43.
Verse 43. In those days Simon camped against Gaza and besieged it round about.
So Simon had guys on lockdown. He was camped against it. All his men was all around it. So that's what that's talking about. Go ahead.
He made also an engine of war.
So that structure, he made a structure like a big, like, you ever heard of the Trojan horse? Something like that. He made he said, you know, we did it first. He made like a Trojan horse. He put all his men inside of it. Go ahead.
And set it by the city, and battered a certain tower and took it.
So he battered a certain, he rammed into a certain tower and took it. Go ahead.
And they that were in the engine leaped into the city, whereupon there was a great uproar in the city.
So those that were in the engine leaped out. Once they battered that wall, once they battered through that tower, they leaped out of it and took over the city. That's what I want to get on that. Now read verse 45.
In so much as the people of the city rent their clothes.
So it says the people of the city rent their clothes. They was afraid. The people that were in the city rent their clothes and they was afraid. Go ahead.
And climbed upon the walls with their wives and children, and cried with a loud voice, beseeching Simon to grant them peace.
So they climbed upon the wall and they was asking Simon for peace. Go ahead.
And they said, deal not with us according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercy.
So why are they saying that though? They saying deal not with us according to our wickedness. So why would they say that? They can't be heathens talking like this. They say don't deal with us according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercy. Let's get some. Go to 1 Maccabees 13. Read verse 21. Remember we said we we're going to talk about that again.
1 Maccabees chapter 13 verse 21. Now they that were in the tower sent messengers unto Tryphon, to the end that he should hasten his coming unto them by the wilderness, and send them victuals.
Now remember the scripture we just read said that those people was in the city and they were in the tower too. He said now they that were in the tower sent messages unto Tryphon. They would reach out to Tryphon because they was afraid of Simon, and they was asking that he come quickly and bring them victuals, because they was afraid that Simon was going to kill them. So they knew that they leaning on Tryphon. But let's see who are these people. Go back to 1 Maccabees 1 and read verse 33.
First Maccabees 1 verse 33. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them.
So this is the city of David that we're talking about. It's Israel. It's a mighty it's a great and strong wall with mighty towers. So this is what Simon is breaking into. This is what the people are inside of, asking that you don't kill us. So we just read about how these Simon people was reaching out to Tryphon and saying, don't come quickly, because Simon is coming. So we need you to come faster. So read that again, verse 33.
Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them.
Verse 30.
And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein.
So it said they put therein a sinful nation. This was inside the tower. A sinful nation of wicked men. And they fortified themselves, meaning they protect themselves. They put out, just like Simon did. They made protection up in the wall so it couldn't be penetrated. Go ahead. Verse 30.
They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. And so they became a sore snare.
Verse 36.
For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel.
So this is an evil adversary against Israel. What's going on is how these people that are in there, they wicked, they evil. But let's see who they are. Go to jump up to verse 11.
First Maccabees Chapter 1 verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
That verse was talking about those Israelites. That's why they said, don't deal with us according to our wickedness. Those were evil Israelites that had turned their back on all of Israel to keep the laws of the other nations. That's why they said, don't deal with us like according to our wickedness, but according to thy mercies. They knew how to talk to them too. That's who that was. So let's get back on. Now let's get First Maccabees 13, read verse 47. So that's who that was in the tower. Those were Israelites who had joined themselves unto the heathen.
First Maccabees chapter 13, verse 47. So Simon was appeased toward them, and fought no more against them, but put them out of the city.
So he let them go. He put them out. He said he ain't worried about. He ain't fighting no more against them. He put them out of the city. He banished them. Go ahead.
And cleansed the houses wherein the idols were, and so entered into it with songs and thanksgiving.
So remember, just like with Judah Maccabee, when they were fighting the war, he had certain people cleanse the temple, and they were singing. Even though they were still at war. The same thing Simon doing. He said he cleansed it, and he was singing. He was praising God. Go ahead.
Yea, he put all uncleanness out of it, and placed such men there as would keep the law.
Remember, we read earlier. We just read that when they defiled the temple, Antiochus and them, they took everything out. And when they had put those people in there, they had made it an evil place. So everything they put evil in there, Simon is taken out. And he put men, read that again, men there that would keep the law.
Yea, verse 48, yea, he put all uncleanness out of it, and placed such men that there as would keep the law, and made it stronger than it was before.
Made it stronger than it was before because he took it back. Go ahead.
And built therein a dwelling place for himself.
Y'all see the symbolism there, though? So he said he made it stronger than it was before because it was filled with evil, but he cleansed it. So you supposed when we come back, you serve God more. If you fall down, you come back up. You're supposed to come back stronger. Go ahead. Verse 49.
They also at the tower of Jerusalem were kept so straight that they could neither come forth nor go into the country.
So he kicked them out. The people of the tower could never come back. Go ahead.
Nor buy nor sell. Wherefore they were in great distress for want of victuals. And a great number of them perished through famine.
So they died from famine because they just when Simon banished them, they had nothing. Those people that was in that were the wicked Jews that was in that tower, when Simon banished them, they had nothing. Go ahead.
Then cried they to Simon, beseeching him to be at one with them, which thing he granted them. And when he had put them out from thence, he cleansed the tower from pollution.
So he cleansed the tower from pollution. Go ahead.
And entered into it the 23rd day of the second month.
So he entered into the tower the 23rd day of the second month in the 100. Go ahead, my bad.
In the 171st year with thanksgiving.
He said with thanksgiving. He was happy. They didn't took back to the tower. This is what he did for his nation, just like his brothers before him and his father. So he did keeping the tradition. Go ahead.
With thanksgiving and branches of palm trees, and with harps and cymbals, and with viols, and hymns and songs, because there was destroyed a great enemy out of Israel.
He celebrated because they was destroyed a great enemy out of Israel. It's the same as when the Most High comes back. We're going to rejoice after everything is gone, because a great enemy is going to be put out of the world. That's the same. It's the same here. A great enemy was put out of Israel. So he praising God. You know, he got the palms. He got the he's singing and dancing, having a good time. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Verse 52.
He ordained also that day should be kept every year with gladness.
So he's saying he ordained it, that day should be kept every year with gladness. So when we celebrate this day, which is the day of Simon, we'll celebrate with gladness, remembering that Simon took back Judea. Go ahead.
Moreover, the hill of the temple that was by the tower, he made stronger than it was, and there he dwelt himself with his company.
Go ahead, verse 53.
And when Simon saw that John, his son, was a valiant man, he made him captain of all the hosts, and he dwelt in Gazera.
So that right there is the day of, this is the day of Simon, which we are celebrating tomorrow evening. This is when Simon took back Judea, and he slayed Tryphon and all his men, and he cleansed the tower from all the wicked Jews that was in there. Took back our stuff, like they had done before. So this is the day of Simon is not a Sabbath. It's not a Sabbath day. It's a Memorial Day. That's one of our Memorial Days. So this is what we celebrate. You know, the heathen, they celebrate their Memorial Day. They celebrate 4th of July and all that. This is ours. Throughout chapter 44 and verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us.
It said, so that's our fathers before us. They are famous men. So it said, let us now praise famous men. So what we doing tomorrow is we praising Simon. He's considered, him, his brothers, his fathers, they are considered famous men of our people. Our people in the world, they don't know nothing about Simon. Famous man is somebody like NBA Youngboy or somebody. That's who they think famous men are. To us, famous men are our forefathers. Because why are they famous? Because they are who we now strive to be like. That's what makes them famous. These are the men that the Most High was dealing with. So we can only be so lucky to be a person that the Most High is dealing with. That's what we striving, is to make sure the Most High is dealing with us. Read that again.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 44 and verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us.
Why?
The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning.
It says the Lord hath wrought great glory by them. Great glory by them. So these are the people who we strive to be. Like our forefathers, our foremothers. Because the Lord used them for specific purposes. So that's what we striving for, to be used by the Lord. So we gotta go through our growing pains so he can use us. But nonetheless, we look at these men and celebrate the memorial because these are our forefathers that we know for sure the Most High used. And so much the prophets wrote about them. Verse 3.
Verse 3. Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power.
It say men that are famous or known for their power. Go ahead.
Giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecy.
It say giving counsel. They say they had power, giving counsel by their understanding, and declaring prophecies. These are the men that we appraise. Verse 4.
Leaders of the people by their counsels.
It say leaders of the people by their counsels. Because these men were leaders. So every man in Israel that repent, every man in Israel that repent, these are the people who we should be striving to follow, to be behind. Leaders by their counsels, go ahead.
And by their knowledge of learning, meet for the people. Wise and eloquent are their instructions,
Go ahead.
such as found out musical tunes and recited verses in writing. Rich men, furnished with ability, living peaceably in their
It
habitations.
say furnished with ability. When it say rich, it's talking about rich with wisdom, because wisdom is above everything. Go ahead.
All these were honored in their generations, and were the glory of their times.
Go ahead.
There be of them that have left a name behind them, that their praises might be reported.
Go ahead.
And some there be which have no memorial, who are perished as though they had never been.
And in some of our forefathers, some of the stories we don't even know about. So we are lucky to even that the prophets are even wrote about these men, that we can have these memorial days to celebrate. Because without these days to celebrate, guess what? We won't have no culture. We'll be celebrating the victories of the Greeks. We'll be celebrating the victories of the Romans. We'll be celebrating the victories of who else? The Russians, the French.
Really everybody.
How we doing now? How we do now? We celebrate victories of the other nations. If we didn't have these scriptures, we would not know what to celebrate. Go ahead.
And are become as though they had never been born, and their children after them.
Go ahead.
But these were merciful men, whose righteousness have not been forgotten.
It says, but these were merciful men whose righteousness they have not been forgotten. Why? Because we can read about them in the scriptures. So with us, tomorrow, I'm not even saying tomorrow, but we should always be having our forefathers in our memory. But tomorrow is a special day set aside directly for our forefather Simon, the son of Mattathias.